There is one thing stronger than all the armies in the world put together, and that is an idea whose time has come. Idea perhaps is the most dangerous and most powerful of all the weapons. Hello and a very warm welcome viewers. You're watching this special presentation of Sansad TV on the journey of startups. India has the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. And if you're an aspiring entrepreneur or even otherwise, this is your destination. As we script the novel success stories of unicorns, mid and small level startups, analyze the roadblocks and give wings to your dreams of becoming a job giver and not being a job seeker. So today, let's hear the story of unique tech-enabled water services startup, JanaJal. JanaJal. Jan means people and Jal means water. Was formed with the mission to make safe drinking water available, accessible and affordable in a sustainable and consistent manner. Jal Shakti Ministry selected JanaJal WOW for its Jal Jeevan Mission. JanaJal WOW functions like a mobile water ATM that can penetrate deeper into communities for home delivery of safe drinking water. Securing the daily dose of potable water for drinking and cooking by every household can be a challenge in large parts of India. JanaJal WOW, an environment-friendly three-wheeler, was developed with the objective of delivering water to people's doorsteps and increasing the rate of adoption of safe water as an integral part of the daily life of citizens. JanaJal water ATMs spread across Delhi-NCR, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Karnataka and Gujarat till now has dispensed over 100 million litres of safe drinking water to people, eliminated 25 million single-use plastic bottles and helped conserve over 50 million litres of water. All right, Dr. Parag Agarwal, welcome to Sansad TV and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So from water ATMs to Har Ghar Jal, ATMs to delivery, how did you think of that idea?
So there was a trigger to this entire thought process, and I'm born and brought up in Pune, and we used to shuttle between Mumbai and Pune very, very often, probably 4 times a week. And there were these food malls along the way, and we would stop there. And very often you had, I don't want to use that word, but beggars who would come to you with their child in the arm, and they would ask for money. And typically what we would try to do is, instead of giving them money, give them some food to eat. So whenever we tried to give them food, they pointed to our bottle of water. So once when I gave them food, they said, in Marathi, they said, "Hey, ushte hai. I don't want this." Means it's eaten from. Ye jhoota hai. So I don't want this. Give me that bottle of water, which was also half, but they preferred that. And then it struck me, and then the moment we gave it to her, she opened it and put it to her child's mouth. And then, it dawned upon me how water is so precious to them. It's so valuable to them that they don't care about food as much, because food they find. But safe water is what they're really looking for. And then how can this gap between bottled water and free water, why does this gap exist? Why is a 20 rupee gap existing in as far as being able to access safe water is concerned? And that is what then germinated the idea of, why don't we try and do something to make water available to people that they can actually collect in an affordable manner? Because 20 is not was not affordable, is not affordable to the masses.
So the idea germinated from there. But the business model, given the fact that it's a very price-sensitive market, technology-driven market, as you're saying. So what was the business model that you thought of?
So the business model was very clear. We needed to survive. So when we say sustainability, sustainability also has to be within. We've got our own bills to pay. We've got our own survival to think about. And that is where, as long as we stayed on the for-profit side, enough to be able to afford ourselves and to be able to keep driving impact on the ground, we thought that this was the right way to go. And for that, the only way to stay sustainable and yet keep getting more and more affordable was to drive scale. So at scale, economies of scale would kick in. And then you're able to lower the end price to the consumer. So there was no capitalist approach, as a lot of people often assume or accuse us of. There is no capitalist approach. I mean, if we were the real capitalists, we'd be bottling water and trying to sell it for 70 rupees at a premium by creating some premium aura around it. But that's something we're not doing. So we started by first installing water ATMs at railway stations, where we were dispensing at 5 rupees a litre, and we are now trying to slide it down as low as 1 rupee a litre, and hopefully going forward even lower than that. Like I said, I was born and brought up in Pune. I moved to Delhi in 2013 with the intention of setting up JanaJal. The intention was to cater to create a pan-India national level mission and cater to people. And for that, I thought in my own sensibilities that it made sense to be in the national capital. So I moved here with my family, and then we started working on building this entire concept out. At that point in time, it was very early. It was, nobody had even heard of water ATMs. People would mock us, make fun of us. Ki kya baat kar rahe ho aap? We've only heard of bank ATMs. So, do something else. This is not going to work. But again, the intention was not to make our business work. The intention was to make water available to people, and this seemed like the best thing to do, or the best way to do it. Yes, there was a lot of resistance. There was no path of least resistance. But we were determined to make that, and that's how we basically came to Delhi, set up incorporated the company here, set up our operations here, gradually started building out, working with a lot of corporates first, installed systems under their CSR, and then we were able to, finally in 2016, is when we were able to secure our first big contract from IRCTC for installation of water vending machines across 3 clusters in the western region. So across Mumbai city and Maharashtra, we installed 101 systems in record time. And after that, things just started moving forward very, very quickly. We were able to scale. We were able to build the kind of operations that we thought we wanted to. And then we strengthened our operating base by adding technology layers for remote management and supervision. And it just went on and on.
So as you were saying, कि हमने तो सिर्फ बैंक ATM सुना था, ये पानी का ATM क्या है? So how difficult was it getting the first contract A from IRCTC and also venturing into the corporate world?
It was a tough journey. Clearly in hindsight, it all seems very logical. But when we were going through it, every time you're living with this doubt, this self-doubt. Are we on the right path? Are we moving in the right direction? Is it aligned with policy? Is it aligned? Are people receiving it right? Are the stakeholders viewing it correctly? Are they receiving it positively? Is the impact that we are making, is it being seen? So all of this all of these factors were ongoing challenges. But the first real market validation, like I said, came in when we got the IRCTC contract, because that is what then actually gave form to something that was only a concept prior to that. And it gave form at scale. The other aspect that we focused on was staying on the urban side, so that people are able to see and experience the benefit of having such systems. So in play. So they clearly thought, and IRCTC was in all the government's wisdom, I have to also say, that it was a landmark decision to do it, because they already have their bottled water brand called Rail Neer. Yes. But even then they thought that this alternative was required, was essential to cater to people. So it became a very big public utility as far as they're concerned. And the people, we also secured the Mumbai clusters, which caters to about 7 million commuters every day along the local train network and the intercity train network. So that's a lot of people to be able to cater to. So we really, there were times we were just carting coins. There were cars breaking down on shock absorbers because the coins were loaded in them. So it was a very, very overwhelming kind of an experience for us, for people, for our teams, but everybody was up to it. And we really, I can keep talking about that period because it was so, such a huge learning curve for each one of us. But, we were able to pull it off.
So cars down by the weight of coins. Yes. But what about the seed capital? What about the investors? What about strategic partners? How difficult was that maneuvering?
So, I think somewhere the Agarwal gene also kicks in. So I think there we started frugal. We kept our eyes on small milestones. And then as we built, we started with a small capital of as little as 20 lakhs to begin with. And obviously there was the willingness to keep plowing in more as we were able to achieve basic outputs and stay on the positive side of building the business. Again, the first big break we got was in the end of 2016 and in the beginning of 2017, when a US-based social impact fund decided to invest in us. And that became our real big. So initially from 2013 until 2016, the company was entirely bootstrapped by me and my brother. So, we are a zero debt company even as we speak. So that's something we've never resorted to, we've never believed in. We always thought, so people kept telling us that, look, debt is cheaper than equity. It's cheaper to take debt. But we always thought the inverse. We always thought that we wanted to build, this was a mission. For us, this was not just a company. So it was important to create co-owners. It was important to create people who can come in not only with as little as 1 rupee. I mean, the quantum didn't matter. But the fact that they felt the ownership and the cause resonated with them and they wanted to support the cause was very important for us. Because that is what would really build roots for the company. And that's exactly what happened. So in 2016, when Tricolor Clean Tech Capital, it's a Raleigh-based fund from the US, they came up and they committed $5 million to the company. And we were obviously over the moon. It was a very, very big landmark milestone in the company's journey at that point in time. And we used that to go out, and the commitment was that we would deliver 100 systems against the investments that we got. We went out and delivered 155 systems. Because we were able to plow back revenues, plow back capital, keep costs under check, and that's how. And we didn't even draw 5 million. We drew, 1/3 of that, and we told them we don't need any more money. We are good at this point in time, and they were pleasantly surprised because they said this is the first time that a startup is actually not asking us to invest more. Typically, they have to, they get requisitions that there have been cost overruns and we need a little top-up capital. But we instead pushed back and said, we don't need more capital, we are good for now. And then we were able to run the operations in a sustainable manner, consolidate what we had built. It was very important, we thought, to consolidate what we have built, otherwise we would lose track and not be able to convert that into our foundation to build further. Sometimes it's very easy to get on a roll and keep scaling up, but without being able to really take a grip on the operations. So we took a conservative approach at that point in time, which actually went off well for us, because that's where we got into the thick of things, and we were able to then build very, very meaningfully from there.
So organizations offering you 5 million, and you're saying we don't need 5, give us 3. So you also spoke to your strategic partners and investors. Let's listen in what they have to say.
So when I heard about JanaJal's visions and what they've come up with, it resonated so strongly with me, because the accessibility of water, it's a great initiative and a great solution, which as an investor from Singapore, I do not just want to see successful in India, to create the positive social impact that it can have in the community, in the country itself, that it ought to be brought to many parts in Southeast Asia, like China, like Cambodia, and even Africa, or even some parts of the Middle East, that this solution is something that I feel very strongly with, in order to ensure that it does take place.
This journey started when I met Parag and Anurag in New York, when they were pitching the story of JanaJal. And very quickly, that story became very personal and very appealing to me. So let me talk about why JanaJal makes sense and why I invested in JanaJal. So everybody has dealt with many successful businesses across the globe. Especially sitting in New York, you see new businesses on a daily basis. What makes JanaJal special is not only is it a good business, it's good for the people, it's good for the environment, it's good for the country.
So this sounds very interesting, last mile delivery, water ATM, but this isn't easy. What were the roadblocks, the real challenges that you faced as an entrepreneur and also your team members?
So there were so many that, it's difficult to pick one to start with. But I think the biggest challenge was getting the stakeholder side to understand and accept, what we were trying to do and what we were trying to achieve. make them, win their confidence that we're here with a quasi-philanthropic approach. And I'm using the word quasi because it's not entirely philanthropy. There is a revenue that we expect for the water, but it's clearly not something that is oppressive as far as the consumer is concerned. And it is intended to allow us to sustain our own operations. And I think that we've, things have matured a great deal since where we started to where we are today. Obviously, the Swachh Bharat mission became a very big catalyst. And then the entire focus starting 2019 on water, the Jal Jeevan Mission being incorporated, and so on and so forth. So all these factors have also helped us, help keep us relevant. COVID was a black swan event in the lives of everyone for almost 2 years. And we also had our own difficulties during that period. But during COVID and now today, the understanding and the recognition of the importance of safe water has now risen manyfold. And that is something that really changed for us as well. Governments are far more, people, corporates, even individuals are far more committed towards this cause. When we wash hands and the water flows away, if somebody drinks it, that water has a virus called COVID. So untreated water is as big a COVID hazard as any other hazard that there might be. Therefore, it's important for people and communities to consume treated water as well. So all of this kind of got amplified, and people started understanding, recognizing. And I think what we did was we also kept evolving constantly. We were not afraid to keep growing. When I say grow, I don't mean in terms of the size of the operations, but also in terms of our back end. So we started as a water ATM company, developed an IoT-based technology platform. So imagine a water company going into IT development. And then we went into automobile development and developed a three-wheeler, which again works on clean fuel sources like electric vehicle or CNG. And we actually went into automobile development, built out a three-wheeler platform that delivers water, and actually created an Uber-like operating model for water. So people can actually receive water at their doorstep in a no-touch manner. And all of this was done much before COVID happened, and touch became taboo.
Yes.
So there was a vision in play, and we had the courage to back that vision. And I don't take any credit for that. I think we were supported very ably by every investor that we have on board, our team. Everybody stood back and stood around and played their part, which is why we're here today.
Let's also hear what your team members have to say.
JanaJal ज्वाइन करने की मेन वजह तो यही है कि पराग अग्रवाल, no doubt. He is fond of innovative technology. So I had worked with him earlier also. So when he started JanaJal, of course I was his first choice. So I joined JanaJal. And water is a essential commodity, and there is a lot of work which is required to be done in the water sector. And JanaJal was a medium through which we can work on this.
जब मैंने JanaJal में अपनी जर्नी स्टार्ट करी 2014 से अब तक, तो वहाँ मैंने शुरू से काम देखा, और जितने भी हमारे वाटर से रिलेटेड काम थे वो सब मैंने देखा, करा, और अब मैं एज अ प्रिंसिपल ऑफिसर पूरे ऑफिस के एडमिन, बैक एंड, आईटी, फाइनेंस, इन सब को देख रही हूँ. और बहुत सारे प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं JanaJal के जो सूरत, मुंबई, दिल्ली, गाज़ियाबाद सब जगह पर है पैन इंडिया, जिसका मेंटेनेंस वर्क बैकएंड से पूरी टीम के साथ, फील्ड के टीम के साथ कोऑर्डिनेट करने का भी मैं काम कर रही हूँ. और मैंने अपने अंडर करीबन 400 से 500 लोगों को हैंडल भी किया है जो फील्ड वर्क के थे.
So, Dr. Agarwal, an idea that started with beggars asking for money to seed capital of 20 lakh to a revenue growth of around 300 CR in next 3 to 5 years. How is it going to come through? What are your strategies?
Our strategies are very simple, is keep at it and keep performing projects on the ground. I think for us, that is where the key, that is where the key lies. We are die-hard executioners. We believe in performing every project, successfully concluding every commitment that we make on ground. And I think the proof of the pudding lies in the seeing and in the eating. So as far as we are concerned, revenue is only a number. This number could have a 0 less or 5 zeros more. And all of that almost is incidental. It's a matter of just being able to perform what we're doing. And again, the revenues need not come essentially from dispensing. We have so many value-added services that can kick in because of the penetration that a project like ours offers. It creates, especially in the rural, semi-urban and urban areas, a combination of all three. It is formidable. For us, water is not a product. For us, water is a medium. It's a medium of change. It's a medium of growth. It's a medium of stimulating microeconomies and making sure that people are emboldened, people are empowered within where they are, within their households. I mean, no more does somebody have to come out and go to that community tap or struggle in front of a tanker to get their little pot of water, which may not be potable. Yeah. If you can get potable water delivered to your house, whether it comes from the pipeline or it comes to your door, as far as the consumer is concerned, you don't care. It works for you both ways. And that's exactly what we're trying to make happen on ground.
So, Dr. Agarwal, your message to the other budding entrepreneurs who probably want to venture in this line?
In this line, I'd say, commit yourself for the long term. There is no shortcut in this. There is nothing, water as a problem is as wide and as deep as water can be. So it's something that somebody should understand. And, unless more and more people adopt this cause, it's not going to get resolved. The second point I want to make here is this is a perpetual problem. It's a perpetual need. So the good news is there is no disruption.
Yes.
Every human being on this planet, I mean, I was recently read somewhere, it used to be 7 billion people, now 8 billion, need to consume water every day. So it's a matter of making it available to more and more people, and there is no competition. Because everybody has their own market size, their own, captive consumer base. And as long as you cater, as long as you perform what you're committing to, there is no dearth of it. And of course, the one suggestion I'd like to make to the budding entrepreneurs at large is be extremely cautious the moment you get invested into. Stop, don't, you should just shut down in terms of, austerity is the word there. Being frugal is the word there. A lot of entrepreneurs work their way up, waiting to get funded or get invested into. And then they become a little high-handed or loose-fisted with the management of that money. Stretch every buck that you get invested in, because that is what will take you far. Unless you're able to stretch that 1 rupee and bring back value worth 2 rupees, 2.5 rupees, it's not going to work for you, nor your investors, nor for your company. So it's lots of messages here for entrepreneurs, of course, generally, and who wish to come into the water sector. They should, but they should be prepared for the long haul. I think that's the message here. There's no short-term exit here.
All right, so there's no short-term exit A, and keep your coffers close to your chest. I think that's
Absolutely.
Probably the biggest message that you're giving. But thank you so much for that inspiring story, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me once again. It's been a pleasure to be here, and thank you for taking this story to the world. Thank you.
All right. On that note, viewers, thank you so much for joining us. That's it. We have you in this edition. Stay tuned to Sansad TV. Namaskar.